6:01, we'll call this meeting to order. Roll call.
Mayor Hicks.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Quintana.
Here.
Councilor Sandoval.
Here.
Councilor Dickens.
Here.
Councilor Lewis.
Here. Stand adjourned and pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hoorah. Approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to go ahead and approve the agenda.
Second. Councilor Quintana.
Yes.
Councilor Sandoval. Yes. Councilor Dickens.
Yes.
Councilor Lewis.
Yes.
Christine Quintana, you want to talk to after what's said?
Yes, after I hear what they say about the Washington Avenue drainage.
Okay, you got it. Since that's the only person we have to address, public comment and discussion of our charter compliance.
Mr. Mayor, I believe we are in compliance with our charter.
I'll second that.
Thank you very much. Regular city council meeting minutes.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the city council meetings from minutes from 1/26/2015.
Second. Councilor Quintana.
Yes.
Councilor Sandoval. Yes. Councilor Dickens.
Yes.
Councilor Lewis.
Yes.
Okay, this first one is wastewater treatment plant water bills, revenues, and sewage. I had this one put on there, and what I'm thinking, guys, is we're looking at $3.97, $3.87 for the cost of our wastewater treatment plant, right, Paul? Something right around there, $4. What I'm thinking here is we might want to go ahead and get out in front of this, and okay, we got the CPI increase coming in, cost price index coming in now in March. And I'm thinking maybe we should bump it by $1 this March, $1 next March, $1 the following March. That way we're not hitting our citizens with a $4 water bill increase one time, bang. It would be simpler to do it $1 at a time as we go. And my other thought on doing this is we could use that money to replace our collapsed sewer lines on Anderman, on Washington, on High Street, all these other places that we have as we're moving forward to get this done.
We have about 6,000 water meters in town, right?
Yes,
Something like that.
roughly 62, something like that, Mike. Something
So
around.
it'll give us an extra 72,000 a year.
Yes, something a little extra for the next couple of years. Because like I said, we're behind on our collapsed sewer lines. You know, and I mean, we need a vector truck, we need all kinds of different things that we could use some of that money for.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm thinking. What I'd like for you guys to do is over the next 2 weeks before we get into our March meetings, talk to Melissa and to Tammy and to some of these girls, because I know, for instance, the auditors said that our water bills are way low. Our trash and our sewer are high, and our water bills are low compared to other places in the state. So just talk to them and see what you guys think, what you come up with. You know, and this is one of the main reasons that I oppose that recycle thing now, because of course we passed Felicia's tax, which we knew we were gonna, and that's a great thing for this community. And now we've got this wastewater treatment coming on us, guys. And what I'm thinking is if we get out in front of it and we don't hit them with $4 right at once, you know, do it $1 now, $1, and then we spread it out over the next 3 years. But what I'd like is just for you guys to, when you get a chance, talk to Melissa, talk to Tammy. I've already spoke with Laura lengthily about this, and she thinks the idea is great. And by the way, Laura can't be here tonight because she's stuck in Las Cruces with her old man and the death of their daughter. That's why she's not here. Okay, just so everybody knows that. But like I said, this is not action item. I just put it up there for us to discuss for right now. But I would like to, if we're going to do this, and like I said, I'd like to spread it out. Instead of hitting them with $4 at once in 2017, let's spread it out, $1, $1.50, and decide how we're going to do this.
Next year, we'd have 150 extra.
Exactly. You know, and that way, because our collapsed sewer lines are averaging us anywhere between 60,000 and 120,000 is what we're finding. On every collapsed sewer line, they're averaging between 60 and 120 grand. We haven't had one. Yes, and we haven't had one cheaper than that. Okay, so.
You know, I'd really like
like for us to start thinking about, getting under I-40 over there to exit 81 too, because I think that's gonna benefit us in the long run. Even if La Quinta doesn't come back, having that over there is gonna entice
Somebody.
someone to come.
You know, what we might wanna do too, Mike, is, to be honest with you, what we might wanna do, Paul, is we might wanna take a look and see what costs we're looking at when getting, to bore underneath I-40, where Counselor Lewis is talking about, just to give us an idea how much it's gonna cost us. So we can move forward with that if we, you know, when we do decide to do that. I know the cost of boring is pretty pricey, especially over a 4-lane road like that, so we're gonna need to, kind of be a little
Well,
bit.
when you think about it in terms of, if we had a motel sitting there with 100 rooms in it, and let's say the rooms are $100 a night, that's $10,000 a night. And the gross receipts tax and lodger's tax from that is anywhere from $600 to $800 a day that we would be making on gross receipts tax and lodger's tax. Whatever we do under there will pay for itself in 3 or 4 years, even if it's $500,000 or $600,000.
Sure, and I thought about that after.
Once a business is up.
Once it's up.
Yeah.
After our last meeting, I didn't realize that we had interest on the other side of the interstate to put a business like this. You know, and we had to turn them away.
So we did.
So let's get a price on
Where's
that.
where's the 2-inch line end? Where, Wayne was saying we had a 2-inch line over there, that we need a 4-inch. Where is it now?
The 4-inch is up there by the AT&T building, Fisher Lane, where that fire hydrant is. And the rest is 2-inch line going down Boone Canyon Road.
Okay.
So it would be the distance from there to back to wherever this would be, the motel?
Yeah, wherever they were gonna put, I think it was a Quinta there at one time.
You're saying that what's under the freeway now?
2-inch,
2-inch, okay.
You know how big the waste is?
no. It's
Probably
probably a
6.
4-inch.
4-inch, I believe it is, Mike. I'm
Well,
not sure.
4 comes out of a normal house, it's probably at least 6, but we need like 12,
Yeah.
you know? To
So they
have,
would both have to be replaced.
oh yeah.
Then you gotta watch out for the Malpine too there.
I was gonna say.
That's what will raise your cost if it's a Malpine.
Well, if we run them through those existing lines, of course, if that pipe going under the interstate, the water is metal, I don't know if they can do that now. You know, Paul?
Yeah, they can do that. Yeah, I think they have ways where they cut that
Like
under there.
motion technology.
And then they'll go in there and put in, some type of, sand or material like that to protect the water line from being rubbed.
Yeah.
And they may even encase it in another line, which would make sense, because then if you have a breakage or anything there, then you pull it out, so I think that's what they do anyway.
Yeah. Well, if we could just get a price on something like that, or even if we have to hire an engineer to give us an analysis on it, see if it's possible for one thing, and then how much it would cost.
Yeah, and I can call some companies that do that kind of work, and they can just give me a ballpark on what it would be.
Yeah, they're probably doing it all over the state.
Yeah, they know what it costs per foot to do that,
Yeah.
so.
And on that note, like I said, just think about this, we'll have this on the agenda with the first March meeting.
Well, Mayor, I think that's a great idea, you know, I believe that we don't wanna put something like this on our citizens all at once, because that's when people kinda look at it like, you know, what's going on. And if we do it gradually, and if they see where it's going, that'll help us out a bunch, you know, in the long run with our finances, and help us do what we need to do. We've got, like you said, we've got a lot of collapsed sewer lines in our town, and it's just happening more and more.
Next, we have the presentation on the website. Have at it, Brittany, show us what's up, girl.
Hi. I'll be talking from over here because that's where the computer is.
You can do the screen, Brittany?
I just wanted to show you, we started our new website last week. It's cityofgrants.net, and we've made announcements on our Facebook page. We also have a Twitter page and a Instagram page that just started. And those I'll show you when they come up too.
Now, this isn't the website that the chamber's doing. This is our city
this is our
website that
city
we've had
website.
all along.
Okay, so this is the top page that comes up when you go to it. I use pictures from Main Street and from the chamber. I'll be getting a camera and taking new pictures and putting those up as they come up. So there's a few links here to a few of the other websites around town, around the county. And then a couple of things on this first page are the city charter, and these things come up when you click the links. They'll come up in another page and you can read through the whole thing. It's got a lot of information like job postings, all of the information that they get from Denise with the cemetery and business registrations are available here. Down at the bottom of the front page, you can click here and get your guys' information on this page. And so I'd like to put your pictures up, and I'd like to get those tonight if that's possible, so I can put your face next to your name. But when you click here, if you've turned in a biography, it'll open up. This one I haven't gotten yet, says will be added, and I'll give those sheets to Denise and she'll put them in your box, so if you haven't turned one in yet, you can fill one out and let us know about yourself. If we go down at the bottom, this is on every page, so if someone has a request for a public records request, it'll go to Denise. This is linked to her email. This gives our address, and then like I said, we have a Facebook page that opens up. And here it says we have a meeting tonight. The agenda was posted, so that pops up too. And then we have our Twitter page. On our Instagram, we have about 140 followers right now. We have only 6 on Twitter. It's brand new, but we have a few people that are following us from like New Mexico Magazine, and they actually retweeted something the other day. They have 20,000 plus followers, so when we post stuff about grants, saying we're so proud of this or that, and they're reposting it, that's great for the city. And they did that on Instagram as well. And Instagram has only 6 right now too. That's kind of why I wanted to bring this up, just so everybody kind of knows if you're telling people about grants, tell them to check out our pages. Tell them there's information out there, and they can come and visit and see the pictures of what we're doing and what we're working on. All the departments are on this page as well, up at the top here. So if I go to recreation, and any other department, it gives information on what they're doing, what they have for me to add in. I know the fire department's page isn't updated, but eventually it'll list your firefighters that are actually on. This is the information from previous, so I have a few updates to make, but I'm working on it. But that's our website, and up here is the map, and it goes to Google Maps, so if anyone's trying to find us. But if y'all have any questions.
Questions, Councilor Quintana?
I have actually visited the website previous to this, so I was already well aware of that, but it looks nice, and I think it's gonna be something, we've needed this long time due, so, thank you for your hard work on this.
Thank you.
Councilor Sandro? Good job.
Thank you.
Councilor Jacobs?
I like the idea when it goes to one person, it can go out to more people and just keep on expanding, let everybody know about grants.
Good job, Brittany.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next one is the task order on the grants of oil for Wilson. Laura said that we didn't have to bring this to council, but I wanted to bring it to council so that you'll know what we're doing here. This is the ditch, and it's already been done, guys. All this task order was about was redoing the NEPA that puts the city of Grants' drainage plan number 1 over the Forest Service's 2 plans. And as soon as we pay this task order, then we can get in there and start cleaning the ditch. Councilor Quintana's right, Councilor Sandoval's right, we have paid for this once before with the master drain plan. But in that master drain plan, it was with the Forest Service's $890,000 fix being number 1 and their $830,000 fix being number 2, and our $200,000 fix being number 3. And all this document did is move ours to the number 1. And when we pay this, we can probably get started with cleaning that oil out. So on that note, I will entertain a motion to pay the task order for grants of oil to Wilson.
Make a motion to pay the task order, Wilson Company.
Second.
For $19,695, excluding those fees. Councilor Quintana.
Yes.
Councilor Sandoval.
Yes.
Councilor Dickens.
Yes.
Councilor Lewis.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. Washington Avenue drainage. Who's gonna take this one? Paul?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you have an extra copy of this that you could give Ms. Quintana then? This memorandum from WH Pacific?
Okay, yeah, she has one good. Okay, I spoke with Howard over at WH Pacific on Friday about this. They came out, I believe it's been 3 weeks now. They came out to look at what was going on there. I was out there about a few days earlier with Manuel from our street department, and we identified that one of the major drains, that drain that goes clear across the road, there's a drain that goes clear across the road, was completely plugged up, which was causing a great deal of our problem, because all that water that was coming down from the ditch from the Smith Street area over kind of behind the Elks Lodge back there, that housing back there, there's a ditch that comes through that open field to the west side of the church there, and all that water was coming onto Jefferson Street and was supposed to be, there's some drain inlets there, and there's a drain that goes clear across that street, and all that water is then supposed to go into the drains there and drain into the Grants Canyon Arroyo. There's a pipe actually that comes out there that we still have to get out there and identify if that's plugged up some more. But I had Manuel clean that drain out there, so we're going to be going out there and putting some water through those drains to find out if they drain. And that was one of the biggest problems. The other thing is we'll have to probably have WH Pacific come in and identify if those drains are large enough to handle that flow that comes down through those ditches. That drain over on Washington Street was never designed to take that much water. That drain was only designed to take the water on Washington Street. When all of that water from Jefferson Street was going across those apartments and those houses in there and flooding those houses, then ending up in that ditch that goes between the school and Future Foundations, and then goes out toward the Rio San Jose. And Manuel and I went out there. Manuel thought that went into a drain there and then drained into the Rio San Jose, but it does not do that. It goes out there.
It catches in that back area back there, and that's why we want that piece from Ronnie Pines to dig it out and make it a catch pond, so it catches everything that comes into that area.
Well, what I would rather do there is I would rather build a drain there and pipe it into the Rio San Jose, because if we do any kind of a little pond there, we're going to create another mosquito habitat.
And you're talking in terms of money, the fixes of channeling it into the Rio San Jose. to actually what it does right now, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of difference.
No, what we'll do is
Oh,
we'll take,
hang on. What I'm talking about now is all of that comes down there by the schools on Washington Avenue from Butchers and everything. That pipe in the ground there is that big around,
right,
okay? And there's one little grate on this side and one little grate on this side, and they're both about this big.
it's actually a 24-inch culvert.
Okay, 20, about that big.
Yeah.
Okay, and the pipe inside is that big. There's no way, with all that water coming down from those areas, that that little pipe can handle that.
Right,
And what I'm talking about there is to take that, where those two little 24-inch grates are out, put a little dip there, that'll help us take out the speed bump. Then all that water flowing into that dip, then in turn hits that ditch and runs straight out into that field like it always has since we were kids. It's always ran that way. The only difference is now, over time, all that back there is filled in with the silt. Okay? And what we're talking about doing there is a catch pond that will drain and it will dry, just like it does right now. It dries every single year, no matter what happens. But instead of going and running back to the left towards the school, we're gonna divide it to the right to where it goes into that corner, and it'll catch all there until it fills up so high, and then there will be an extra pipe that goes into the reel that will drain after it catches so much.
okay,
Just like we have on Sergeant Street on the other side.
okay.
Okay, this is what I've envisioned after being raised in that area and playing in that floodplain my whole life. Now, Ms. Quintana, would you like to say something? Come on up to the mic, please. Come on up.
I just want,
You want your house to quit flooding, right?
yes,
Yes,
something
ma'am.
to be done. But I am glad that you've gotten people to go out there and look at it. You know, I've been writing letters for years, I didn't just start.
Oh, I
There
know
were
it.
other mayors sitting there, and I wrote to them, I came to meetings, and nothing was ever done. But I do thank you that you are starting something. You know, that's at least a big hope to us, you know? We never had hope, because I would write and, it was just put away somewhere, you know, my letters or whatever, and nothing was ever done. But at least you've gone out and looked at the problem, you know, because it is a big,
You know, and one of the things to realize here is Mr. Pines owns that property that we cut that ditch through, okay? He owns the property in the back there that we're talking about putting the catch pond in. He wants to give that land to the city of Grants for that reason, as long as we use it for flood control and to stop the flooding that happens throughout Smith Street by the Elks Lodge, all the way through Jefferson and Washington. And that's my plan. As I've seen this, and I mean, in my 8 years in office, you know I'm the flood man. I try to take care of all the flooding, and we have, except for your area.
yeah,
And now we're gonna take care of it too.
you know,
Along with the council's help, we're gonna take care of that too.
What I think what we need to start with is by getting rid of that ditch, that man-made ditch we cut across the Ronnie Pines property, because that's where all that water is coming from, that's flooding the whole area, because that doesn't belong there.
That ditch was put there because the flooding was happening in that other area further north.
And that's because
yeah, but
you
like
can
you
take
said,
care of
then
that.
right,
it
and I
drives it
understand
to
that.
our houses.
Yes.
That's a separate issue, that's down there, that's where we can control that, but not by putting a pond back here at the end of a flood. We need to get rid of that arroyo
Yes.
that's bringing all that water from Smith Street and that whole area back there. All that water's coming from there. And it's flooding everything here, and it wasn't made for that, that's true, it wasn't made for that. And if you go look, you'll know right away that water, that ditch is bringing all that water to you.
Yes, it is.
But the water was coming through
Get
there
rid of
anyway,
that.
Ruben.
Get rid of that.
Hang on, let me talk now. The water was coming through there anyway. The water was running through there anyway. All we did is,
Not at that amount.
all it was doing was hitting that plane and it was spreading out. And it was coming over the road, and it was flooding all them other houses there and that church and everything else. And that's why we cut that ditch, is to get that water out of those northern neighborhoods. Because
Okay, but that's
I mean,
their
'cause they're
problem, you're bringing their problem to this side, you know, take care of their problem over there.
Paul, what was your proposal?
Well, what we're gonna do, what I would like to do, I think it makes the most sense, is find out if that drainage system there on Jefferson is large enough to hold that float. And if it's not, let's put a little bigger drainage system in there, won't be that expensive to do. And then that way, that water never gets over to Washington and it goes where it's supposed to go.
But my point being here too is, the little grates that we have over there, House, that's not enough to catch the water that's coming now, much less the stuff that's coming from the ocean.
Yeah, we'll have to identify that
Yeah,
too.
we're gonna still have to do that one.
Do some adjustments there also. But we need to identify that, and so we've taken the first steps. We're gonna come in there, and we're gonna make sure that those drains are unplugged. We're gonna find out what size of drainage it is there, how much water we're dealing with there, and then we can come up with some solutions to
I
it.
think we should have an engineer give us an analysis on that, instead of us trying to design
Well,
it.
we've already
Well,
had that.
we're gonna look at a couple
We've
of
already had
things
that.
first, yeah. We're gonna look at a couple of things, but that's ultimately what it's gonna take.
Where's the pipe going to now?
The pipe from Jefferson Street or the one on Washington?
The one from Jefferson to prevent it from going to Washington.
Okay, that one goes directly east, and it goes, you know, where Washington and Jefferson come together, and then they go into Washington.
Right in front of,
It goes right from Jefferson, yeah, and it goes right through that Y right there, and it goes straight into the Grants Canyon Arroyo there on the south side of the bridge, on the south side of Washington. And we saw the pipe there, but the pipe is, we know what size of pipe it is, but the end of the pipe is, I don't think it's been draining water for years. And so and mostly because that large drain that crosses the road there was completely plugged and silted, and we cleaned that out. Now we'll take, we'll hook up to a fire truck or something, and run some water through it, and make sure it's flowing, and then identify what we have there. There's a lot of drainage inlets there, so it's used to before accepting quite a bit of water. I don't know as much, I don't think it accepted everything that comes down that ditch, because like the mayor said, that used to spread out in that field all behind that church there. All out in there, it used to flood that area.
Where everything used to run straight in before the ditch started getting dredged out and built up about 10 feet.
Well, yeah, I mean,
So the
that'll-
dam was created. I mean, I grew up here too.
Right.
I used to play there.
Yeah, you never did have a bank on it.
There was no bank, it was just straight in there.
So now we have to look at that. I mean, we're not talking about it. We need to put a larger drainage pipe underneath Washington through that intersection. You know, we're talking about taking a backhoe out there and digging it down through there and putting a drainage pipe in there, you know, which, you know, we can have, the engineers look at it and give us a design, and, you know, we can have our own guys actually do it.
Okay, cost-wise, to put in a pipe that short of a distance, what's the difference in cost putting in a pipe, cost digging that ditch out and digging a big catch pond?
I guess we'd have to look at purchasing the property where we'd put a pond, and then we'd have to look at what type of soil we have in the area. If it's clay, once it gets wet, it's not gonna drain. And we have to look at, okay, how much water are we talking about catching?
You're talking about water table also, the water table, you got a low water table, you got
Yeah.
an alkali,
Yeah.
clay out there.
I think
The water table is
we're
very high.
probably 200 feet from the arroyo, you know, I mean, we're not far from it there.
I think cost-wise, it'd be better to just dig a ditch and put a bigger pipe.
Yeah, I think so. I think even if it costs a little bit more, I think it's a much better solution in the long run.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, this right here, right across the road from Washington, when it drains out, where all the kids walk back and forth, for that ditch, when it goes out all the way to the bottom, there's no way that water can go in that river, that San Jose River.
No, it just
Because
catches
it's
in
all
that catch
scattered all
pond.
over.
Yeah, it catches in that catch pond in the back. And
So
that
that's why you
catch
wanna
pond dries all the time. I walk my dogs back there every day.
Right. So
And-
that
and
water's
I
just
mean-
getting scattered all over back there, I mean.
Yeah, and see, that's what,
that
that's,
ditch is not even clean, I mean.
yes, and we've cleaned it, before we used to clean it once a year.
Right.
We haven't cleaned it in a while, but we will start doing that again.
There's no way you guys can put pipe or something like that.
The pipe, you mean put a pipe in the ground there and bury that ditch?
Right, like a covered or something like that, like say a 16-inch covered all the way, like say
I don't think they would be big enough, because when the water is flowing in there, that ditch is all the way full with water up to level with the road. No 16-inch culvert's gonna handle that, and you're gonna have all that water backed up in your property
So
again.
we have to do something at the end of that.
That's where it's collecting, and then that's where you put your drainage.
Yeah.
Right now, we're causing the problem by that ditch that comes from
I think
Smith.
that's probably your
And
best
actually,
solution.
and actually, our master drainage plan is gonna already
Yes.
identify the amount of
It
water
does.
that we get in that area and things, so
It
it's just a
does.
review of that to start with, so,
Yeah.
so, you know, we're doing these preliminary plans, and I think we can have this, solved by the time our next monsoon season comes in, so.
So bear with us, guys.
If a kid fall or something, I mean, they can train where that water comes down, pouring. But you know how that monsoon comes in sometimes. And shit, what are you guys gonna look at? A soup, probably. Something happens to a little kid, because I see kids going back and forth all day long. Because they go to Future Foundation, back to elementary. There are a bunch of traffic there, small kids walking around. I seen them walking on it, but it's pouring.
Yeah.
They're up there
Well,
running,
we'll,
so that's what I mean, they can trip, fall, break a leg, and what? The water, you know how it comes, when it comes in a gushing. I mean,
Yeah, we'll identify that, that system there was never designed to handle the amount of water that's been coming to it in these
Right.
And
past
we're not
years,
gonna
so.
forget about you guys, okay?
no, I know, but
We're not gonna forget about you guys, we're gonna continue to work on this, I promise you.
see, because
You're
I cut
not
the
gonna be
Future
forgotten.
Foundation now, and kids are going back and forth.
Yes.
You know, I guess they got babysitters there, I don't know, I don't have no kids, small kids, but, you know, they go back and forth. From the Future Foundation to the SMU,
Yes.
SMU, all day long.
Over 300
You know,
kids.
you got all them kids playing baseball or whatever, I mean.
Yeah.
But
Now,
we're
look
working
at that one.
backwards. We need to start where the problem started, over there at Smith. Well, that's where the problem started with their flooding.
We'll look at it through the master drain plan.
Bringing it down.
We'll look at it through the
Yeah,
master drain plan and we'll
exactly,
go from
we
there.
have to,
You have to get all them drainage
identify
from Jefferson and
what
then
water we're
Washington,
bringing.
they're all coming
Yeah,
together.
Yes.
that's what
There's
we're
no
doing,
drainage.
we're bringing all that water to
Yeah.
Jefferson and Washington.
Yeah, because it used to spread out in the field and like Mr. Dickens said, it used to flow into the Rio at one time and now it doesn't do any of that anymore, so we have to get rid of it. And I think it's a big problem, but I don't think the solution is that big.
Hey, Paul, when you go run water through there, I'm very curious to get the outcome. I'm very curious to see if it is plugged and what it's plugged with, if it's silt, if it's trash, whatever it is. But if we find out that it's plugged, then that's part of our problem, a big part of our problem.
Well, it was plugged because the biggest drain that goes clear across the road there was silted to where no water was, it wasn't taking in any water there. It was filled almost to the grate. And so we just need to identify those other street drains that are in there, make sure they're not plugged, and we need to run water from that one and make sure it's not plugged because it hasn't run water in so long, I suspect that it probably is plugged.
After all these years.
Yeah, but we can get in there with you know, a fire hose or something and.
Blast it out.
You blast
That's
it
what we
out
did on
and
the other
we
one,
might, you know, may be able to
Sage.
use our vac.
Did you use the Vector truck on it?
I just wanted to add one little thing to,
Every one of them. We gotta blast them out all the time.
I just wanted to add one thing to what Mr. Sandoval said. It is true what he said, a lot of the problem came from that ditch that they made over there by that church on Jefferson. Because before, the road used to flood on Washington. Then somebody went out from the city and dug that ditch. And then that's when, oh my gosh, we got this flood and it was coming from that ditch and it was coming into our backyards, front yards. You know, it never did that before. It did that in the front yards, you know, just on Washington. But when they dug that ditch, the water had nowhere to go, so it was coming down that alley that's between the apartments and the houses. And then from there, it started scattering everywhere. It went to the front of Washington, it went to the back of our houses. It went everywhere, so that ditch does have a
yes.
lot of, you know, a lot to do with it too.
You need a drainage on that Rio San Jose, so that water can, you know, be
I
gone out of
promise
there.
you guys, we're working on it, okay?
It's gonna
Exactly,
back
yeah.
up,
Yeah, we're working on
so
it,
you gotta
I
have the right
promise you.
drainage.
And with the only
I
reason
agree.
you just hear from us is because we bought that house in '78 and we've lived there since. And everybody else has come and gone from those houses, you know, they've sold them, they've become HUD houses, and then they've sold them again. And there's only us that are original owners, and this little old lady that lives like about 5 houses towards Mesa View. We live towards the baseball field, and she lives towards Mesa View Gertie. And she's elderly, very elderly, and we're the only original owners. That's how come you hear from us and nobody else, you know? Everybody comes and goes in those
It
houses.
is, I mean, the safety for the school, I mean, all the kids, there are a bunch of kids there.
But
And like I say,
we just came so that you don't just put these papers aside and say,
No,
okay, you know?
No, we've already come out there, we've
Okay,
already cleaned
well,
that
we
one
thank
drain,
you.
we've already,
Excellent,
yeah.
yeah.
So we're gonna get it, I wanna get it fixed, you know, if I can't get it completely fixed by this next monsoon season, I'd like to get, 60-70% of it fixed.
Well, we do thank you very much.
We're working on it, guys.
okay, thank you.
Look into digging that ditch. Bigger pipe.
Next one.
What I saw in there looked like it was, probably 3 feet in diameter. So it's probably a little undersized also, but it's hard to say because the end of it was kind of covered and bent in and things, so I'm not sure, maybe it might be.
Could be like our sewer lines collapsed.
Yeah, it could be, it very well could be. Yeah.
Okay, the next one,
Thanks, Paul.
well monitoring. You gonna do this one, Paul, or mine?
Well monitoring?
I can do it. This one here, we accepted bids, and the low bidder was the same one we had last time. Also on this one, just a note for you guys, we didn't need to bring this to the council, but I figure you guys all need to know what we're doing every time, okay? It's under the 20 grand, and Laura said we didn't need to bring it, and I said, we're gonna take it anyway, okay? And all it is it's 15,142 for these guys to continue monitoring our wells out there at the golf course to make sure our water coming out is clean and not all polluted. And on that, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, we accept the bid for the $15,142.
To Stoddard Miller and Associates of Elk.
Yes.
Second?
Counselor Sandoval.
Yes.
Counselor Quintana.
Yes.
Counselor Lewis.
Yes.
Counselor Dickens.
Yes.
Cool.
What's the status on the well that they were gonna examine this summer and re-pipe or something like that, or put a new casing in it over here behind that?
Yeah, they went down, they've been out here the last couple of weeks, and they pulled the well out. They videoed it and identified a couple of spots where the screen is, where the water comes in. That well actually has 2 levels of screen. It has a screen about, it's 150 feet, Wayne? About 150 feet, then another one at the bottom. And there's some holes that are in that screen and things, and they went in, after they videoed it the first time, then they went back in and they started scrubbing it. And they found they needed to scrub it because it was almost completely plugged, those screens and things. So they went in and they scrubbed them. I've got the video too in my office. Have you seen video too, Wayne?
No, I haven't seen
Yeah, I've got it in my office. I got it last week. And so we're gonna look at that. And in talking with them, we talked about going in to put another sleeve in there. They don't really think it's necessary for that. They don't think that those holes that it has in it at this time are causing any problems. And there's another problem with that well. There's something that's not right with the casing that goes in there. There's a jog at about 170 feet?
70, 75.
Yeah, 175 feet. That well casing is damaged in some way.
I thought they were gonna replace that.
No, they can't replace it. They were gonna run a sleeve in it,
Right.
but they didn't know that there was that where it has, they don't know what it is. There's some kind of damage in there that has, that would be difficult for them to go put a sleeve in because they don't believe that it'll fit down through there. And if they go with a smaller sleeve, then now you have very little room for your pump to go down in there.
So they never did anything there?
No, yeah, they went in, they pulled it, and they scrubbed it. That's what they've done so far, and cleaned it. And so now, I'll be looking at that video and getting back with them to find out what they advise on it, but from talking with them so far, it sounds like, right now, we just need to, just put it in and just run it.
I thought they were gonna even change the pump on it.
No, the pump was never a problem in that well.
Pump's working so well, it's sucking up gravel and everything else.
Yeah, and I talked to them about that, about the gravel pack around there and what problems that could cause, and they said, well, if it was gonna cause a problem, we would have already had a problem with it because the gravel's already sucked out. And I said, can we repack that gravel? And they said, well, it's hard to say because some of that gravel, if it's packed up around the top, it's never gonna get down to where the void is on it. And so right now, that well is 277 feet deep. The water comes up to 70 feet,
Yeah,
about 70 feet, and that pump is set at 150 feet.
150 feet.
And we were talking to them about maybe setting that pump at 200 feet. And so I'll talk to them again and see what they think, that they're not sure if that pump can pass through that damage in the well casing. Because they were having a hard time when they were putting their scrubber brushes, and we were out there watching them. They had a single brush that they could put down and go down through there, but when they had put two brushes on it, it wasn't going down through. And then I think eventually they finally got the two to go down, wasn't it?
Yes,
Down through there as they scrubbed it and cleaned it out. Then they got two to go down through there. And so one of the things that we haven't identified in that well is when we pump it, how much are we drawing it down? You know, so far, when we pumped it, what's typically the average time or the longest time that you pump that well at any one time?
we rotate in the summer, spring, every other day we'll turn it on.
And for how many hours?
8 hours,
And you've never run out of water?
no.
So, and if we have to pump it longer than that, then maybe we will. We have never identified how much of a drawdown we get. But so far, we haven't had a problem with it. So we're gonna identify those. Like I said, I just got the videos. Actually, I took them home with me over the weekend to look at them, and I didn't get a chance to look at them. But I just got those videos, so I'll be looking at those and talking with them again on it and things. So that's where we're at on that. It's not nearly as critical as we thought it was. We were told that there was a pump that had been, or a pump that had dropped into the bottom of the well, but the video didn't show that. There was just
There was something on a pump on that well. There was something on about a pump.
Yeah, they had told us that there was a pump at the bottom of the well that needed to be pulled out, but we couldn't see any in the video. The camera went down and just hit silt at the bottom, just the bottom of the well.
I thought it was broken down there.
That's what they had said,
Yeah.
but we couldn't see anything that it
We
was down
seen
there.
a break. Did everybody go to the video, the first one? Where the
I think that break was in the casing.
Yeah, the break was
In the casing, yeah. In the casing on the way down, yeah, that's where I don't know what happened sometime working on that well. They must, I don't know if they
Caught the casing, they did something.
caught the casing and
That's not
bent
an
it
issue.
or did something. Well, yeah, that's what we're gonna determine, so. Yeah.
Okay.
When are they gonna let us know about that?
Well, we'll find out by the next city council meeting. It'll be all done by then.
Next, task order, Second Street.
Okay, yeah, Andrew will come up and give you that.
Smile, Andrew. I know it's Monday, baby, but it ain't that bad.
Well, first off, thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members, for your time. I appreciate it. Just want to briefly talk to you about the scope of these two projects for discussion items H and I. Second Street involves full reconstruction from Stevens to the north to the box culvert that Wilson's working on currently. And that will be a full reconstruction of the road, curb and gutter. We're looking at sidewalks for both sides of the road, as well as looking at storm drain improvements. So we'll do some storm drain analysis, see what the road can handle, and we'll use the DOT drainage criteria for that and see if storm drain is required for this section road, and we'll get that drained out. Also have some signing and striping and some survey work that'll be done for that part of the road. And the final deliverable will be signed construction plans for construction.
Does that include lighting?
It does not include lighting at this time.
How about,
Is that something we want to look at?
What we're doing with the other sections of that is we're putting in the conduit for lighting, so that if we get money down the road, then it would be easy to add lighting to the street.
well, I think that's worth it. I think we really, at least get the conduit in there.
That's what we're doing with the other phases.
But we can certainly do that.
So I know First Street, we did First Street lights all the way down as we did it. I know we did the first block there, we did lighting. That first little block there by West Theater.
And with lighting there.
Yeah, we put the lighting there.
I know,
Okay.
in this second phase, we're putting conduit in there.
Questions, go ahead, Ruben.
Has anybody looked into what we've already paid Wilson to do on that street? We paid $134,000 here for exactly what you're supposed to be doing now.
Is that for a previous phase?
That's a
And
different phase.
This was final road design, final water design, final security sewer, final bridge, street lighting design and power coordination.
That's
This
for
only
First
came
Street.
in at $124,000, which we've already paid. Now, we're gonna pay for you for all this again? That's my question.
Well, the limits for this current project are from Stevens to the box culvert.
This was,
On Second
this
Street.
was from High all the way to Box
So
Culvert.
First or Second Street?
Second Street.
From High Street all the way down.
This is Second Street, and we paid $134,425.
No, that was for High Street to Stevens Street.
No, this is from High Street to the culvert, it says right here. So I just wanna know, are we paying again?
No,
We already paid?
No, we're not.
What's going on? This has been going on for too long. We've been paying and paying and paying, and we still have a road broken up.
that original project was from High Street to the box culvert, but it had been adjusted because we didn't have funding. So it kept going back. It was originally gonna go from High Street to the hill, actually to the box culvert. We didn't have enough money, so it was gonna go to the hill. There wasn't enough money for that, so then it went to Stevens Street. So it wasn't.
This supposedly started
The
in
design,
2010.
yeah, the design they have, the design is completed now, and it's only High Street to Stevens. That's all that's been designed.
What I'm coming to is when we have a contract like this, the way I understand contracts is whatever work we do belongs to the city. So if we've got another engineer, couldn't you go see what we've got already paid for and done?
Yes,
Before you come and say, well, we want to do this all over again?
yes, if you have previous plans, we'd be happy to take a look at them and
Well,
see.
that's what I'm asking.
Yes,
You know,
we can take a look at everything that you have that's been previously done.
Right,
And
exactly,
we
that's
have,
all
we
I'm
were
saying.
asked to prepare a task order for the specific length of street on Second Street. So that's what we're looking at today. But yes, part of our process is looking at previous documents, any plans,
Okay,
any
have you done
estimates,
that?
anything like that. Not yet. We
Okay,
need to
well,
get
see,
that information.
we're just paying more when we might be paying for something we've already paid for.
You know, and we've dumped a lot of money into that already, so there's gotta be some starting point that Wilson did. Now, I don't have a very good record with them myself personally, but, I believe that Councilor Sandoval's saying is in that document right there, that is our starting point, and we wasted taxpayers' dollars right there.
May 24th, 2012.
Well, we paid for what you want to do, and it might already be there, we just have to find out.
No, I understand your
It
concern.
belongs to the city.
And it's not your fault, you know, it's just that something like he's saying, we need to look at it and say, if they've got a starting point already on this, if they've got design plans, those kind of things already in place, we need to take a look at that and see what you
Because
guys.
they're ours,
can
we
do.
already paid for it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, this was
Once they're
2012.
completed,
Huh?
I'm not
They
gonna
don't
use
have
that
that.
same thing.
They've done, the only thing that they've done is we've done some camera work, and I believe they did the environmental.
So Paul, was there a partial payment made to them, or did we pay them that entire amount?
No, they have only been paid for the work that they've completed.
This says final here. So,
You can ask Tammy.
Yeah.
it doesn't hurt to find out, you don't have to pay double.
Mr. Mayor, I recommend we table this item until the next city council meeting.
I'll second.
Counselor Quintana?
Yes.
Counselor Sandoval?
Yes.
Counselor Dickens?
Yes.
Counselor Lewis?
Yes.
That works. Last one, task order, Legacy Trail.
This task order began, the new trail will begin here at the city park and will extend to the east towards Anderman, going alongside the Rio San Jose. So we're looking at putting a multi-purpose trail, probably 10 to 12 feet wide. We'll take a look at the appropriate width. We'll form two-way traffic, multi-purpose. And we're looking at which side we want to put it on, either north or south side. I'm working closely with Paul on that decision. We're looking at similar task items, so we'll need survey up front. We're gonna look at the drainage. Since this is TAP funding, it's DOT, administered through the DOT, we're gonna look at, we're gonna need environmental and geotech and some water resource reports that we'll need to put together for this. And so at this time, we're looking at crossings at First Street, Second Street, and at Anderman for pedestrians. And we're looking at just crossing on top of the road at this point for this phase of the project. And we're also looking at planning strategy for the trail, so that they get across safely.
So this will be a hard surface?
This would be most likely asphalt.
Asphalt.
And it's probably the most cost-effective form of trail. Since there's a lot of clay soil out there, we need to do some geotech work and investigations and see what kind of typical section we'll need for that. And see if we have to remove some of that dirt and replace it, or if we can treat it in place.
Has Wilson done any work on this at all?
Not to my knowledge.
I didn't think they had.
They've got a plan, not through Wilson, but through the state. It's right there. Have you looked at that?
Yes, I do have that information. I have been talking to the author of that document, and he will be involved as we move forward into design.
Yeah, because they actually gave $64,755 for the engineering of that already. Do you know about that?
That was the planning document.
Yeah.
Well,
So we've done some previous public meetings and coordination. So we're working off of the previous information, moving this forward into design.
So
So
what do you
we're
know
working
about,
off of the recommendations.
what do you know about $397,000 that's coming towards construction of that? Do you know anything about that?
I didn't.
Okay, that's what you need to find out. It seems like you want to start from scratch.
No.
There might have been work already done here, because it's been in the mill for a while.
Right.
And I don't want to,
We do have those planning documents, and we will work off of what's previously been done and carry that forward.
right,
I don't want to start from scratch. That's not the best use of your dollars.
The city's portion of this is gonna be about $52,000. Okay.
right,
The state's
Yeah,
got
that
64,000.
This,
The county's got $3 grand, so it's gonna be about 52 grand for us.
we're going to deduct the cost of the bridge from this task order, at 17,000.
The Second Street Bridge?
For the Legacy Trail.
Off the top of what,
Off,
50,
What bridge are you talking about? Paul?
Pedestrian bridge,
They're talking about the Legacy Trail, right?
right?
the pedestrian bridge.
Okay, yeah, the pedestrian bridge, task 9 for $17,026. That's gonna be deducted, because we don't have, I talked with the city manager about this, and we don't have the funding right now to do that bridge.
Now,
That
which bridge are we talking about? Is it gonna go over Second Street or First Street, or is it the one over there by the church that
No,
goes to the
it
back
was
of the?
gonna go, when we originally looked at the Legacy Trail, we were gonna be leaving the amphitheater on the south side of the ditch. And before we got to Second Street, we were gonna do a bridge over the top, because at some point, we have to get to the north side of that Rio, north side of the Rio. But we're not gonna do it. We're gonna try to take advantage of the existing bridge at the amphitheater. rather than doing this bridge.
Oh, you mean the trails, it's possible that the trail will be on the north side of
North side from the Riverwalk.
Do we own that property?
Yes. We have a right of way, 30-foot right of way all the way through there.
From the center?
Because we have to get to that side, because otherwise, when we were going down through there, there wasn't really room over on First Street, after you cross First Street, going east, behind those buildings there. It just wasn't a place, we started talking about going through there and things, and we didn't think it was really the place for that trail. That trail needs to be on the other side of the road. And so we started talking about how do we get to the other side of the road, and so we talked about a bridge to cross over before you get to Second Street, or use the roadway on Second Street, which I didn't like that idea. And so we talked about that, and then when we received this task order from WH Pacific, then the city manager called me and we talked about that bridge, and we felt like at this point, we wouldn't have it in there because we don't have the funds to do that bridge at this time, and even constructing that bridge would eat up a big portion of that $645,000 for construction. So we decided, Andrew and I talked to him a little bit before the meeting, we're gonna go look at utilizing the bridge that's at the Riverwalk and start on the north side.
There's a
Well,
great,
that cuts it down to about 35,000, city's portion, without the center.
oh, yeah.
Is that all totally out of the city portion, the 17,000?
Yeah, it would have been, yeah, we have $75,000 for the design, planning and design, our design. We have 75,000, and so we would have a task order here of 110,896.81. So we're talking about roughly $36,000 that would have to come out of the city's pocket for the design.
Actually, that north side of the Rio San Jose right there, there's a whole row of elm trees, must be 30 trees there. And if we can keep those trees, that'd make a great little area right there for
Yeah,
stopping.
looking at the whole trail, it just makes more sense to, start on that side and because,
It's behind the old
trying to
thrifty
cross
mart
it
and
somewhere.
McClellan's and Bays and stuff.
There was
It's too
some-
tight.
Yeah, it's too tight. We had concerns about people using that. It'd be very easy for someone to hide by the buildings and
Yeah.
type of thing, so there was a danger there. They talked about possibly taking a trail in front of that shopping center there, that old shopping center. I didn't like that idea either. I don't think that was a viable option. So the only thing that really made sense is to get on that north side and stay there.
I like it.
Riding my four-wheeler, I like the north
North
side.
side,
Yeah.
So the number we're talking about, Paul, is 110,000,
110,896.81.
896.81.
Plus the,
tax.
plus the tax.
Plus gross receipts tax. Mr. Mayor, I move that we proceed with the design work of the Legacy Trail in the amount of $110,896.81
Plus tax.
plus tax.
I'll second with the exception of finding out what we've already, what's already been done,
If
if
anything.
anything.
I agree.
Laura, our city manager's been on top of this thing from the very beginning.
Right.
She started this before she was our city manager.
Right.
She's given me all the information she has, including the contacts, and so I have everything she's given.
I got a motion and a second. Counselor Quintana?
Yes.
Counselor Sandoval?
Yes.
Counselor Dickens?
Yes.
Counselor Lewis?
Yes.
Comments from the council? Counselor Quintana?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council.
Thank you.
I'm sure everybody's aware that we started North Hills Bridge. Construction signs are up.
Yeah, baby.
It made me smile once I saw those signs go up and we broke ground. So I'm really anxious to see after this project is completed, what you've done for our community to make things better for everybody. And it's a good feeling, you know, that's just something I'm really looking forward to. I know Mayor Hicks was on top of this when he was sitting right here, actually. And when I came in, that was one of my priorities, so I'm glad to see it being completed. Other than that, that's all I got.
Councilor Simon?
I've seen the street sweeper on Santa Fe Avenue. I haven't seen it on Sage yet. It hasn't been done. You can get somebody there.
Councilor Dickens?
Wayne, can you put the porta potty at the baseball fields?
Yes, sir.
And they're already playing ball, and the girls are gonna start practicing here probably this week.
Okay, I'll give it Michelle, she's in charge of that, so I'll talk to her tomorrow.
And I'm glad you put all the trash cans out, because there was some kind of tournament going on this weekend, and they filled them.
Yeah, and put some, cleaners down there, everybody go,
Yeah,
scrape all that mud out of there and straight it.
yeah, I see that. You guys are doing a good job, and thank you for putting the millings there.
Yeah, it helped a little bit, but we need more, so,
Yeah, I was talking to Laura, need just a little more there.
yeah.
Who owns the land by the old sewer plant and on the other side by Subway?
City does.
City owns all that?
Part of it's.
Elkins owns part of it, but that old wastewater treatment plant, and if we don't put a wastewater treatment plant, it goes back to Elkins, or back to Gottlieb. But right now, we own it. And since we're not gonna put a wastewater treatment plant there, that land's gonna revert back to Gottlieb.
Okay.
On the other side, the only piece that we own is the part where Roberta's place is at. The rest of that is Kate Elkins, I believe, one of those Elkinses.
Yeah, could be.
It's one of the Elkinses
And
that owns that on the other side.
further, east from the old wastewater treatment plant, I believe, is Acoma.
Yeah.
The reason being, I was thinking that'd be a good place to dump all that excess dirt that's getting out of the creek.
Out of the ditch.
That way it eliminates some ponds there for mosquito breeding.
Those little spots on.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something too, is since we've done the salt cedar removal, I don't know if any of you have been back there to look at it, I know Ruben has, because he drives right by there. We've already got water coming up like mad, okay? The water table is already coming up.
Where are you talking this people?
Well, if they eliminate the salt cedar
It's
throughout
coming
the
up
whole
big
state, we wouldn't have to worry about water in the whole state. Texas could have water.
On that note,
Michael.
I will entertain a motion to shut down.
That's all right, I don't have any comments.
Oh, you know what, guys, there is one thing that I forgot though. Number 2, the regular city council meeting
I
minutes.
make a motion, we accept
The city council
city
meeting
council
minutes.
meetings for
Second.
last time.
I'll second.
Councilor Quintana?
Yes.
Councilor Sandoval? Councilor Dickens? Yes. Councilor Lewis?
Yes.
Sorry about that, I skipped that one, you spaced it. Mike, you don't got no comments at all?
The quadrathlon happens on
Well,
Saturday.
Catherine's coming, guys.
It's gonna be a bike run.
Yeah, it is. A bike, they're gonna carry their snowshoes on their back.
There'll be snow on the
That's no
tree
melting
side.
fast, though.
On that note, I will entertain a motion to close this meeting.
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Have a good night, guys.